Okie dokie. Kia ora, everyone. Making a succulent garden out of the near-beer equivalent of Lego. This stuff was actually... So the kit that I built last time, it hasn't actually been uploaded yet because I'm a terrible human being. No redeeming features. That kit was $100-ish, $90 on sale for the flowers. Very nice flowers, very pretty, much wow. This kit, I previously built the bonsai, Lego bonsai, which was in the realms of, I think I managed to swing that one for $50. This kit, this guy, for those that are playing along with a copy of our home game by Loz, this kit is $15, including postage, and comes with real instructions. I've also got another one that is more like the other flowers. I've also got some other kits coming from China to build. I'm basically going to do the rest of this series with knockoff Lego because it's a little bit cheaper. And, well, no, that's it. That's the whole reason. Lego is heartbreakingly expensive. And after my experiences with the Kakapo, while it is very nice, the quality assurance of both the kit, having all the parts required, and having instructions that are human readable kind of turns me off the whole experience. So I'm inclined to go for, well, if the real stuff is going to be absolutely terrible, why not just get like the fake stuff? Like at the end of the day, it's not going to hurt any more or any less. I'm actually following the instructions on this. The instructions are wonderful instructions in the vein of Ural truck style instructions, which I don't know if anybody is aware of this, but the Ural truck is a Soviet era truck from Russia, obviously, that's why it's called the Ural. That was because of potential educational standards in the 1950s. When this was done, there were concerns as to whether or not every single mechanic in the Soviet Union would be able to read it, with the vagaries of having many languages, many dialects of the language, and many accepted local variations on spelling. Apparently, they just decided to make the instructions on how to service the vehicle a comic book, which I love. I love that idea. I love the fact that you've got a problem, quite a severe problem from a whole military standpoint. We need to train people how to repair this vehicle. Small problem, sir. Not everybody can read, and not everyone spells things exactly the same. And the amazing solution to that is, fuck it, we'll just make it a cartoon. And apparently the entire vehicle can actually be disassembled with 4 fairly easy to get spanners and 4 fairly easy to find screwdrivers. I know this because there was a time in my life in which I was going to drive across Russia in a Ural truck. And so when you decide to do insane things like this, you generally, or at least in my case, tend to put in a little bit of research to find out if this is possible. 2, if there's a way of doing it. I'm not going to say safely, because taking a vehicle fundamentally by myself, like this needs to be stated, I wasn't actually intending to take anyone with me. By yourself is an inherently dangerous thing. Like, I'm currently nursing the idea of sailing across and getting a boat and just sailing the Pacific, which is an inherently dangerous thing to do, just by nature of the fact that I'll be going by myself and there'll be no one to assist me. I can't stay awake 24 hours a day. At the end of the day, that makes it inherently dangerous. And it's whether or not you can mitigate those dangers enough, and It really is a case of, can we lower the threshold of danger enough that we're not going to unduly tax the resources of the poor bastards that will come and rescue us when we fuck up. And that's what it boils down to. It doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what crazy ass ideas you have about going it alone and being your own man, etc., your own person. We live in societies, fundamentally, and people will come to try and rescue you. If you do something stupid and nearly kill yourself, people will come and try and save you, because people aren't just going to let you die as much as you very clearly want to. They will come and save your sorry carcass, even if that is not what you wish. So, if that is the case, you kind of have an ethical obligation to make sure that you take as many chances, do as many things as possible to minimize the requirement that you will have to be rescued. I mean, we live in the world is an inherently chaotic place. There is no real way to mitigate all risk. So what you do is attempt to mitigate the minor risk to yourself and to others based on the stupidity that you wish to engage in. And I'm not for a second going to tell people not to engage in stupidity. That's crazy talk. I am of the opinion that people are going to do stupid things. I'm going to do stupid things. Doesn't matter how much I grow or learn as a person. I am going to make foolish decisions that will probably harm myself and others. I don't want to harm other people, so I'll do my absolute best to mitigate the harm I may cause others, but I can't prevent that. Not really. What have we done? Okay. So, if I get this piece and place him here. Okay, cool. Although, that doesn't quite look right. Does that need to be up more? I think that might need to be up more. So if we go up one, yeah, we go. There we go, kids. Cartoon instructions will lead you astray, but never in a big way. It's just a matter of repeating this over again. This is making the base that the succulents are going to sit in for those that are playing along with Copy Pal home game. But anyway, back to harm mitigation, harm management, however you wish to phrase this particular conversation. I think what you do with your own life is your own full business. And if you are going to go and do stupid things, you're going to go and do stupid things. It doesn't matter how much we watch you, it doesn't matter how much we try and protect you. If you are inclined to do dangerous and foolish activities, you're going to do them. Like, it's just how it is. I think rather than attempting to prevent people from doing stupid things, you are far better off. I made a mistake early on. Let's find out. I feel I may have made a rookie mistake very early on. I did make the rookie mistake there. I've been asked at work if I ever get frustrated about things, because when things go wrong I tend to be the person calmly trying to fix them. And the answer is, no, I don't really get upset when things don't. I'm autistic, so I will have total meltdowns about shit. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to sit here and say I'm a fantastic human being with no faults, failings, or personality quirks. That would be a lie. However, purely mechanical problems kind of scratch a deep dark itch in my brain. Okie dokie. Ah, no, there it is. I thought I was missing a piece and it turned out I wasn't. Well, there we go. That's seriously 1 point for this near beer Lego. That need knockoff Lego being better than actual Lego. I thought I was missing a piece. It turned out I wasn't, because the people that designed this kit and did the quality assurance actually care. So what do we need? That needs to go there. The other thing is, it didn't come with numbered bags, which I guess for a certain subset of humanity is a fail and makes them want to drive. It was three clear bags that I decided to be kind and open off camera, so you guys wouldn't have to deal with the opening of it. Not that anyone said anything. Oh well, I might have. Famously already stated I don't check the reviews for this, mainly because I'm doing everything off my phone at the moment. But there's also a fair amount of these videos are free, man. They're worth everything you pay for them. If they bring you a small amount of joy or happiness, then that's amazing. If they don't, I'm sorry. But as I previously said, this is what we're up to. This is going to be the size of it. So this is how big your $15 thing is. Some people would be disappointed at that size. I get it. I kind of do. You want your Lego to be big and terrifying and to scare all the girls when they see it. I kind of, however, think, wow, how big... I think I mentioned this before. I rent. I don't have a lot of space to fill my life with junk. In fact, I'm kind of trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with a Saturn. If I do get a boat, because sure as hell can't take that with me on a boat because it's too damn big. Yeah, this kit is not... These $15 kits... I speak as if I'm an expert. This kit is $15, and it is clearly not going to be as much Lego or as much physical impressiveness as you would get from a $50 kit. I would like to point out, though, that in my experience of the cheap Lego kits, you don't get a lot for your money anyway. Like, I get it. Manufacturing this stuff is not cheap. It'd be cool if it was cheap, but it's not. It is expensive and probably not that cost efficient at the end of the day. In fact, I reckon this, just looking at this near Lego knockoff, I suspect it's probably made in the same factory that makes real Lego. The stuff that the Lego that is made in China is probably made in the same factory as this LOLs stuff. And that's cool, once again. I don't see why we need to pay a phenomenal amount of Lego. That being said, I'm also kind of a little bit anti-consumer, anti-consumerist culture. The other reason I decided to drive and get cheap Lego is because I do not wish to encourage the Lego speculation market as if one person could actually change that. However, that being said, just because one person cannot change the world does not mean that one person should not change their behaviour. Because at the end of the day, if the only thing you can control is yourself, you have an obligation and duty to others to control yourself. And if you're in that situation, it's probably because you're in the military. Because you can actually put a hell of a lot of pressure on people just through social interaction. Most people want to be liked by their peers. They want to go along. They want to get along. They want to be part of a community. Not necessarily your community. Be careful here, kids. But they want to be part of a community. So people inside a community can hold that community to a fairly high standard of accountability just through the application of, we call it a strategic application of violence, but it's not about, because it is a violence in a way. You are attempting to hurt and upset and modify behaviour through social interaction. And you're doing that through the withdrawing and withholding of acceptance, which for some people is quite traumatic. And to sit here and do what a lot of people on Twitter like to do, which is sit there and go, removing social approval is not a violence. It is. Like, let's call a spade, kids. It is it is a violent thing to do to a person who is susceptible to that kind of violence. And that kind of is an important thing to remember about violence. Not all violence. There is no universal definition of violence. Things that people consider violent are different. There are some people out there that consider swearing and abusing their partner is not a form of violence. It is acceptable. I do not agree with those people, but I'm willing to acknowledge that those people exist, because they do. And so, as much as to the time and space that I come from, I acknowledge that harsh language can be a form of violence, can be a form of domestic violence. Because even though I come from Australia, the land of famously swearing at people, I have to accept that harsh language can be violence. I don't necessarily mean it as, it's just that I come from a place where it's like, fucking how you going? Fucking going good. Got our little rubbery feet. Which, I think that's something that we need to be aware of as people. For those of us that do identify as people, I'm not going to sit here and accuse people of identifying as people if they don't. Not everyone wants to be a person. Ooh. Okay, that's cool. Sweet. Thought I was about to make another mistake. But it's okay, I figured something out. But yeah, so my kind of takeaway is that we need to be careful around other people that come from different places and spaces. Not because they're inherently dangerous monsters or whatever, and they need to be protected as such, but just because, once again, and this to me is kind of a little bit 9, 10, okay, cool, up to instruction 11. But because they may have vastly different understandings or vastly different experiences of the world to you, and that changes the dynamics of a lot of stuff. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. A lot of people that are marginalised, like a lot of women don't want to hear about how they can contribute and maintain things like white supremacy. Because that's not a fun conversation to be involved in. They don't want to hear about it. And once again, okay, I kind of get it. No one wants to hear about how they're the bad guy. But there are white women out there that are 100% maintainers of patriarchal behaviour. Not through any fault of their own, but because they don't want to step outside. Well, it is a fault of their own. They don't want to step outside of their own experience to understand that other people may be coming from a different background. That's why I keep raving on about that whole bit about intersectionality. If your politics isn't intersectional, fuck off and die. Well, don't fuck off and die. But see, this is just an example of the language in which I grew up in, or grew up around, in which telling someone to fuck off and die. Yeah, well, it's not a nice thing to say. I'm not going to sit here and say that you're going to say that to your local priest or whatever. I mean, you might. I don't know. Your local priest, maybe a complete cunt. But it's part of the discourse. I mentioned before that in Australia, particularly the part of Australia that I come from, New South Wales, the police have been basically told to suck it up, buttercup, when they're told to call cunts by people in the streets. Supreme Court of New South Wales decided that that is a part of Australian language that the New South Wales police are just going to have to accept, regardless of their personal feelings on being called cunts. It's not... The court didn't want to put sanctions on people for saying it, which, cool. New South Wales got one right once. Note the day down in your diary, kids. It's not likely to come around again. Now, I'm kind of hoping the piece I'm looking for is grey. But I have a sneaky suspicion it's one of the 400 colours of green that I'm staring at. No, there it is. It is grey. Excellent. I was kind of worried that... Well, I don't know why I was, because these do appear to be full colour instructions. I guess I'm just a bit gun shy after that bullshit from the last Lego kit, which... Yeah. Cool, so that's where we're up to after step number 7. And like I said, the instructions are actually full colour, which is pretty damn cool. Although what is not pretty damn cool is the fact that I am going to have to be putting down about 900. Well, it's not. It's 35 individual single pieces in a specific pattern to make the base. I think this actually makes the more technically difficult kit to put together than the Lego Bonsai one, where you just pour the crap into the bottom and call it done. I find that quite interesting. Way to go, moles. Definitely flying the old flag for us, aren't you? By ramping up the difficulty of Lego. Right, so I need that one there. If you're a ham-fisted weirdo and you know build Lego on the internet. Very awkward song that. Didn't really take off, I can't understand it. Okay, so... I don't know why I find these off-brand instructions so much easier to follow than the standard ones. I think that shows a large... That's just me showing off my neural divergence. Why did I find this one so much easier to put together than all the other ones? Fucked if I know, Jeff. So that looks right. Now I just need to find the final grey 2x2, which I'm sure will be completely easy in this sea of parts that I'm staring at. It's not. Part of me is just like, we'll just sail on past this step and we can come back to it a later date. And it's kind of like, where can you though? Will you though, I suppose would be the better question. And the answer is no. I will just sail on and be cranky and angry later when it doesn't quite go together. Okay. If you suffer from man hands, there we go. Yeah, in some ways this kit is quite painful to put together for someone that has hands that are best described as Mongo hands. No offense to Mongo, but he does have very large hands, and I also share that trait of having very large hands. Yeah, I'm just missing a 2x2. I'm wondering if I've used a 2x2 that should have been a... I think I have. I think we have discovered the error, children. Let's see if I can get the deconstructed. Yes, I definitely have made a mistake, and not just in flinging a piece of Lego halfway across a desk that is covered in Lego. I have used a part that I kind of need instead of a part that is sitting here staring at me. Oh man, this is going to be fun getting this out. And the Lego one is too big. If I was smart, I would have a collection of tools just sitting here waiting for me to use for when this invariably happens. The fact that I don't says a lot. Because this is not the first time this has happened. There we go. Never mind, I solved the problem through my superior tool use. Okay, so instead of using a 2x2 in there, I should have put a angular bit in there. So now that guy can go there, and we can carry on with our lives like I didn't make that mistake. Right. And wait, what? Now I'm confused. What have I done wrong? Okay, so the guy needs to go there, and there should be a 3x3. What am I doing? Nobody has any idea, at least of all me. Okay, now I appear to have dropped a piece because it's just going to be one of those days. Kind of tempted to just... Oh no, wait, it's there. Okay, cool. Never mind, kids. I'm going to go back to bed. Nobody knows I'm whistling. Yeah. So now we're going to proceed to put in the little pattern, which I hope you appreciate the fact that my hands are not built for this type of work. I mean, they might be. But my hands are best described as large, strong, and of high endurance. Not necessarily what you'd want for for building Lego. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm wonderful at wielding a knife, but the knife I use is, well, the smallest knife I use on a regular basis is 10 inches long and what is that, 600 grams. So, well, yes, we do precision work as a chef. It's more a case of getting something big enough and heavy enough and making sure we don't cut our thumbs off with it, which in and of itself is a skill. I mean, it's like with the knife tattoos. People sit there and go, "Whoa, are you a chef or something?" And I usually sit there and say, "Well, I'm either a chef or a serial killer, and which one would you prefer me to be?" And that really makes people nervous. Like, what do you mean? It's a joke, mate. I'm a chef. Oh, hey, chefs have got great sense of humor. You're all the same. It's like, cool. Tell me you don't know any chefs without telling me you don't know any chefs. We are all the same. Sure. Cool. Because as we all know, all large groups of people are monolithic. Doesn't matter if it's all doctors, all chefs, all soldiers, they're all exactly the same. Because they're all built in factories downtown with no variation. It's actually a kind of hilarious thing. Well, I think it's hilarious. Your mileage may vary. I think it's hilarious, so I'm going to share it. It's the idea that the reason why for certain people and certain families who grew up with star signs, they become like their star sign. And it's actually just approval seeking. What happens is, I've probably mentioned this before, I'm always talking about this crap. Nobody cares but me. Anyway, I want you all to know just how difficult it, like, this is what we're doing. We're putting in individual colored blocks. Ooh, not even in focus. And yeah, needless to say, the size of the pieces compared to the size of my fingers, it's it's quite a fun moment. I do not regret this in any way, shape, or form. I am glad that the instructions are relatively robust. I have a feeling this kit was built by at least one person that had never seen the instructions before and had no idea of what they were ultimately building. Because that's kind of how it feels, and that gives me confidence. See, Lego just would have had you tip all this crap into a little shovel, into a little space, and called it good. And the fact that these guys want you to, because this is meant to be like the little rock aggregate that your succulents are sitting on, and the fact that they came up with a pattern and they want you to put in the pattern, I kind of like it. You know, it's clearly not the same choice, but you know, I kind of think sometimes sanity's overrated. I mean, if sanity was so great, how can people live their minds so much? It always seems to me that most people, when people say, oh, they lost their mind, it's not so much as they lost their mind as they decided that it was contraindicated to survival and decided that they cared more about survival than maintaining the pretense of a mind. Which I think, you know, and once again, people change constantly. You are never the same person. Every time you go to sleep, you wake up, you're a brand new person. If this has blown your mind, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to blow your mind, kind of. But that's how the world works. Every time you go to sleep, you wake up, you're a brand new person. Your brain has processed the information that you have learnt the next day, and because it is a learning system, it modifies and improves itself to ensure your continued survival. Like I said, if this is the first time you've discovered that every time you go to sleep you wake up as a different person, I am very, very sorry. And I mean that. I know people that have been legitimately traumatized when that truth finally sinked in through their head that every time they go to sleep, the person that goes to sleep does not wake up again. A different person wakes up. A different person built from the experiences of the other person. But there's nothing you can do about it. It's an interesting thought experiment. Unlike a lot of thought experiments, it may be upsetting, but it's an important part of your personal growth. Sometimes being upset is important. As long as it's being upset about the right kind of thing. Ooh, it wants me to use a translucent one. That's cool. I feel kind of smart that I figured out that it wanted a translucent one as I proceed to smash the blocks off. So some of the bricks don't click on very tightly, at least not compared to Lego ones. Okay, so that's what we've done. I'm feeling that's on wrong. So I think that's to hold a bumblebee, which I think we're going to build because I'm seeing some yellow and black stripy bits. Okay, so we want that bit here, and we want a clear guy. Oop. The clear guy needs to go there. And oh my god. Wow, we are really leveling up this patterning of the single round pieces that go on. This to me is almost nightmare fuel. Like, yeah, that bit that you didn't like 30 seconds ago, guess what? We're going to do it again. And we're going to do it until you like it. God, I've had a doll for every time someone had screamed that at me. Uh-oh. I've upset the cat. He's in a very disagreeable mood at the moment, for reasons best known to himself. Basically been hissing and biting at me most of the morning. I get it. I don't want to be around me either. Unfortunately, I live here. And also, he doesn't have opposable thumbs, so he's kind of shit out of luck when it comes to getting fed when he is angry at me. I'm not one of those people that sits around, I'm not going to feed you because you're mad at me. I'll feed him. I'll feed him even when I'm bleeding a liter of blood because he decided to shred me. Because I get it. He'll get frustrated and cranky, and there's a whole person in there, and I'm not an easy person to live with. and I am responsible for every human being he appears to like more than me leaving. So I get it. I get his frustration, dislike of me. Just don't know what we're going to do about it. Sometimes I'm his favourite person. Other times he remembers other people exist. But that's just what his shit is. I think the problem is not so much that he likes other people than me, it's just that other people forgive him a lot. When he calls people who've just met him, they kind of sit there and go, oh no, it's alright, he didn't mean it, he's just frightened. And I'm like, you're a dick, cat. Like, I don't cut him slack. Other people do. And he knows it because he's not an idiot. Like, he's an asshole sometimes, but he's not an idiot. So, he likes the fact that when he meets new people, he gets a free ride. He can be the jerk and know that it's not, well, one, he knows it's not going to affect his chances of survival if he's a jerk to these random people. You know, he kind of knows that being a jerk to me isn't going to negatively affect his chances of survival either. But he can tack them and know that they are not going to actually get upset at him. So he will still get pats in 3 minutes when he's decided to change his mind. Whereas when he shreds me, I basically tell him to go away and ignore him. Because that is how I deal. That is the only tool I have in my disposal. He is too big. I feel lots of people saying, well, you hit him with a spray bottle. Yep, and then when I'm not home, he destroys the spray bottle. He is big and aggressive in spite of being muted. So, my only real recourse is to withdraw my approval from him when he is an arsehole. And occasionally he comes around and will apologise in an hour or two. But it takes him a while to figure out that I am deliberately ignoring him and he will not be getting as much attention as he normally would, which then gives him the shits because how dare I act like an autonomous human being. He's sentient, but like a lot of things that are sentient, he hasn't quite grasped that other things are sentient as well. You know, that whole toddler problem, toddlers not being able to figure out that other people are actually people, as opposed to things to make their life a little bit easier. And, you know, like, it's a cat, can't really expect him to be dealing with complex problems such as other people are real when there's plenty of people out there that haven't grasped that simple fact. Oh my god. Yeah. So this is now multi-layered. Flip it over and... okay. Well, this, at least, it's a bit that looks like it's fun. So, okay, so I need to get 8 of these and stuff them with green bits. Okie dokie. Where was I? Ah, yes, complaining about the cat. And now we hear a small piteous whine come from behind us. Don't complain about me, I'm wonderful. He's not. Well, look, he's a cat. He is a, like I said, he's a fully fledged autonomous critter who, he's doing his best. I'm doing my best. Kind of. If I had met him as a kitten, there is no way we would have chosen each other. We don't have a strong simpatico. However, because of circumstances, we find ourselves living together and being each other's companion, and we make the best that we can out of that. Which, to be fair, is all you can really ask. Like, I don't expect him to be anything more than the grumbling bastard he is. I don't know really what he expects from me, but it's pretty much where we stand. Kind of a, not say heavily armed neutrality, but it's definitely a form of neutrality that we've come down to. Okay, we've made all those little guys. Now, okay. I'm seeing some problems with the Lego individual pieces. There's a little bit, especially with the paler colours, where you can see the mottling of the individual pieces. You know, that may or may not be a deal breaker for you. You know, your mileage may vary. Okay. Oh, I gotcha. Right, so we're meant to alternate the colours of these parts. Right. Of course we are. How could I not have anticipated this? So... yeah. Yep. And yep. Okay, so then we put these two pieces together. In a problematic little shape. Like so. And that piece will go flying off over the horizon. Okay. And then we add a third one to the stack. Okie dokie. That's a not a bad looking succulent thing going on. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's going to win awards for accuracy or whatever, but you know, it is very definitely looks like a type of succulent, because succulents always look vaguely fake. To my mind, and a lot of people, well, they don't look fake. How dare you say succulents look fake? You're a monster. I know I am. It's part of the whole genie gig. 0 cosmic power. Oopsie. Giant Mongo hands. I stand by my decision to get Mongo hands on the grounds that, well, they're better than tiny itty bitty hands. And you know, these hands almost in proportion I put on my body. So, okay, so that's meant to swing down under there. That's not going to go on there. Is there another piece that's... yes, okay. It helps if you don't skip a step. Alright. There it is. There's the piece that I want. Like I said, not hugely accurate, but you know, it could be a thing. Like, you know, I'm not gonna. Ooh, okay. So big, long, flexible bit. What if there's an easy way to thread this through? Yes, it is the opposite way of what you were doing. So I've got a long, thin, fairly flexible piece to thread through. And it goes right there. which easily could be an epiphyte tendril. And then that goes there. And then that one goes there. Okie dokie, that's where we're up to right now. All in all, I think this is looking kind of better than it has any right to. Okay, so now we're building a bumblebee. So this piece with yellow on the bottom, and then that guy, and the clear wings. Yellow on the top. Really? Yellow on the top? Yellow on the bottom, yellow on the top. Ah, I see how it's going together. Okay, cool. Never mind. I know what I'm doing. I know. And the other dark translucent wing. Okie dokie. Right, that guy. I haven't seen this many translucent pieces on Lego for a very long time. Kind of, to my understanding, was very quite difficult to manufacture with an appropriate amount of clarity. Sorry, this is all out of focus. I kind of figure that nobody is really listening to these videos, well, watching these videos, apart from people that are desperate to fall asleep to the soothing sound of my voice. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. Now it all becomes clear. Okey-dokey, and that is now a small sort of fleurus that it doesn't feel like telling me where they're going to go, so we'll just ignore them and move on with our lives then. So it needs to go like that. To, what are we doing? These pieces. Right. So if I'm going quiet to you and it's ruining the experience for you, it's just not that these pieces are technically difficult to put together, it's just trying to figure out in the sea of vaguely shaped greens which ones actually mate to the appropriate diagram. I feel like I'm really doing them a disservice by not trusting their instructions as much as I probably could. I could probably lean into trusting the instructions more. It's just after Lego broke my heart. So I gotta make 6 of these guys. So we'll just keep making them then. Yeah, it's just kind of the whole colour thing. Making sure you've got the right colour kind of feels a bit disingenuous after that. Like, that app really left a bad taste in my mouth, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of think somebody needs to be fired for an app that does not work on all Google phone, all Android phones. It's not a Google phone, it's not a Pixel. And also, it needs to work on an old version. Like, while we're here screaming and carrying on about this, it also needs to work on an old version of Android. Like, okay, cool. It works on the latest and great. It works on the latest version of Google, of latest version of Android. That's cool. No one is handing their kid the latest version, a phone that is capable of running the absolute flagship version of Android. That's insane to expect somebody to do that. These things cost a lot of money. It's like demanding that someone only. It's like when schools demand kids use Apple products. It's like, do you not understand how expensive these products are? Like, do you not understand what you're asking parents to pay to build a thing? And I don't know, maybe once again, I'm not the target demographic for this particular product, as I am old and salty and cranky. So, maybe I'm not the target demographic. Okay, so... okay. So... I don't need these pieces later on, he said, not very convincingly. Yeah, I just gotta find the right green, so I'm just gonna consistently use the wrong green and hope it's fine. I mean, I'm sure it is. What's the worst that could possibly happen? It's not gonna be missing a piece from a freaking Kakapos wing or anything, am I, Lego? That still makes me dirty. That kit is too expensive for there to be missing parts. It is an expensive kit. It should not have been missing parts. It should not have been missing parts at all. That's all that needs to be said. It should not have been missing parts. And the fact that it is makes me angry. Okay, so that one goes there. Is that only meant to be? Yeah, possibly. I don't even know anymore. Whee! Okay, so I need one of these, and a big bowl. Alright, so that appears to be that. Okay, what part are we missing now? Probably the parts I just used, right? Oh wait, that's not tall enough. There we go. That's better. Now it looks the appropriate height. Still not comfortable that they look like the wrong colour, but I guess I'm just going to have to live with it. The little round interconnecting pieces, they kind of look the wrong colour to my eye, but, well, maybe I got it wrong. I might have. There's a very good chance that I've gotten it wrong. So, rather than freak out and worry, we are just going to drive on. So don't mean nothing. Drive on. Okay, so this is where we are now with our little succulent garden. Ooh. Okay. Okay, I like the technical aspects, like the this is definitely, as cheap as it is, this is feels like a more sophisticated kit than the Lego one. For example, I'm currently screwing on transparent pieces that are going to look like a very delicate and, well, not a transparent flower. I've seen the flower of this succulent that I'm currently assembling, and the petals on it aren't clear, but they're so close to clear it doesn't really matter. They're this very, very transparent green, like they're not even a white flower, they're like a very soft green. Now, admittedly, they have used clear here, but I'm not aware of every single variation of every single flower that's ever existed. So maybe there is a variation of the plant that I'm aware of that was very popular in houses from the 1950s that my parents, their friends had. That kind of architecture you see. And the wonderful thing about succulents as a plant to have inside your house is they just lasted forever. One of Mum's friends had a succulent in her house that was apparently 60 odd years old. Like it never died. I kind of think that's cool. That's not the right piece, clearly. Does it require a piece then? This is where things become interesting. I've got a black one that's probably going to be good enough for the girls I go out with. And I'm very tempted to use it as a placeholder. I just kind of don't really want to start using placeholders this early on in the build, or this late in the day of the build, and I haven't really had to. Previously on the X-Files, I wonder. What they grabbed here? No, they're not. Okay. Oh god, I know what I've done. Oh wow, really? Okay, so the pieces that I want to use right now are currently on the succulent I just put together because I used the wrong type of green. Yeah, that's what I was worried about earlier. It turns out I have a good cause to be worried. But I will just backtrack, pull it apart, and do it again. Because that's how we roll in this here jungle. Oh, come on. These pieces really do go together much better than I would have thought. There's no forcing them going on, like they just... Apart from me making mistakes and having to backtrack because I'm an idiot, everything is going on really well and goes together really well. Apart from, like I said, the occasional stupidity of the person assembling it. Now, let's just pull these bits off in their entirety. And see, the reason I want these is these actually have a hole in them. And so, yeah, they're clearly the ones I want, not the ones that we are using. And the pieces I substitute for, or rather the pieces I think I should have used, are just a third kind of green. So, if you can't really see 37 kinds of green, this is probably not the kit for you. However, if you can see 37 kinds of green, how would you like to join your local military? and go to Southeast Asia and fight wars that people don't really understand for reasons that are best not discussed. Invading other people's countries, it really is a growth industry. And, as the joke goes, you get to go to other people's countries, learn their language, eat their food, study their culture, and then shoot the shit out of them. Yeah, that's what it says right there on the tin, kids. You can't get upset when they give you exactly what's on the tin now, can you? Excellent. Right. Now back to putting this together like it was supposed to be. That was that is mildly embarrassing, but I failed to use the right green. Fucking hell. And then the piece I'm building just explodes in my hand. I get it. I have Mongo hands. I'm not meant to be building Lego. I entirely understand. However, I am building Lego. And I do suffer from a near fatal case of Mongo hands. There we go. Okay, that looks much better. I don't appear to have done any real damage to the kit, which is always a bonus. This is the other thing that makes me nervous about more expensive Lego kits, is just me putting them together. I'm likely to break them in new and exciting ways, because the force required versus the force I will inadvertently use is not the same. I will inadvertently use too much force and something will be broken. There we go. Okay, and now we are building. Oh, now we get to put the stickers on. So, for signs, they're using modified skis, which I think is very cool. I'm going to put the signpost on there because, you know what, part of the instructions, and we're going to follow the instructions on this one, or as much as I'm going to previously, but don't be surprised if I rip this little sign off later and you do not see it on a future video. If I do follow, I'm not really going to do follow-up videos on this. I'm probably not going to move it too far from where I leave it on the desk, so you might see it. I've got a whole bunch of Lego minifigs, so there is a part of me that may actually decide to give Harley Quinn skis. I actually glued a bunch of Lego to the top of my fridge, so I could actually stand the... Okay, so how are that going together? Alright, so these two. Fill it up by, what, 1, 2, 3? No, 1, 2. Right. So I could actually have my Lego minifigs on top of my fridge. I think it looks cool. And my fridge is made by Samsung, which tickled the hell out of me at the time, because when I got it, I was using a Samsung phone, and so the idea really kind of makes me giggle to have a Samsung phone, a Samsung fridge, Samsung, blah blah blah. It just tickles me a little bit. I kind of like, because occasionally I forget that we do not. Okay, so this piece goes there. A piece that I placed earlier is, you'll never guess this, guys, in the wrong place. But this is easily fixed through brute force, which is one of my specialties. I specialise in the application of brute force. Two things, just ask anyone that knows me. They'll be like, that son of a bitch. If they like me, they'll call me son of a bitch. They may just be overly polite. It spontaneously disassembled itself. I think I may have already made enough evidence for the case of terminal case of Mongo hands. How have you managed to do anything in your life when you can't actually be gentle? You would be surprised at how little I've actually achieved. Or maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you know some of my exes and are not surprised by the lack of success I've had in my life. Most of the time it didn't really surprise me. But as the saying goes, some of us have a hard row to till. And when you till a hard row, that's what we're up to so far. Coming together nicely. And once again, I just like, that is my goddamn thumb in the background for size, if you're wondering why everything's exploding. Hands that make people happy, not hands that are very good at building things. And I'm doing okay, I guess. Right. There it is. Okay, that's some bitch goes there. Ooh, now this is where we find out that I may have actually built something a bit too high. Actually, no, they're meant to be dark green. I hope they're dark. I suppose I should turn on the light to actually see how good it is, except the problem is it's a single overhead fluoro light in a diffuser, so it's not exactly the best light in the whole wide world to use to start with. Okay, cool. No, I may actually have the parts to do this. Sweet. So I wear glasses because I have a kind of, well, I think it's a hilarious condition. Your mileage may vary, but I'll tell you the story of it so that we all may laugh along. I actually have stigmata, trauma-induced stigmata. I've been punched in the head enough that the tissue that holds, so the bone that holds my eyes in the sockets is no longer perfectly worn out, and they'd be deformed. And it turns out that's a thing that can happen. If you get punched in the head enough, if you live a life filled with fun and excitement and have a face made for being punched, enough people, and you meet enough people who are willing to take you up on the clear offer to punch you in the face, you can develop non-serious ancillary brain damage, which is a fun way of saying if you get punched in the head enough, your eyes will stop working properly. And so, without my glasses, everything's soft and in low def. That's cool. You know, well, see the world in low def. I also don't have very good colour discrimination anymore. And that is one of those non-serious, purely cosmetic, not going to fix these problems that you will develop, like I said, if enough people take you up on the offer of your genetics to say that you can take a punch in the head. It's just how it is. I don't have, well, as far as anyone can tell, I do not have concussion syndrome, which is the fun term for when you've been punched in the head so many times, just so many times, that you start developing personality shifts and anger management issues and all sorts of shit like that. Probably because I'm autistic and neurodivergent to start with, you know. Breaking my brain probably not going to do that much. It's like, you know, it really didn't work. Now it now doubly doesn't work. Oh, that was nice. That was nice of them. Okay, so we've just made our 8 outer petals for our main succulent. Now we need 2 of these. Okie dokie. So we want these guys and these guys. But why am I making 2 of them? I suppose there's 2 succulents. Ours is not to reason why. Ours is just to build this weird shit. So as the pieces have gotten progressively smaller, I am starting to have trouble putting them together, but it doesn't feel like it's a problem with the precision build of the parts. It feels more like just a fact of it is a problem with the user. Famous Pepcak. The problem exists between keyboard and chair. Tragically, I do not have a chair or a keyboard. Turns out I was using the wrong part. Of course I was using the wrong part. Why use the right part when you can just use the wrong part? The wrong part is always more fun. It always fits better as well. Like, when you're reassembling a rifle or whatever, and you've got like 3 or 4 different rifles disassembled in front of you, it always feels like the bolt assembly and slide mechanism of the rifle that doesn't go back together and will actually cause a catastrophic failure if you're trying to sell. Those 2 parts always, they just appear to go together. They go together better. They feel like a more natural fit, which, I think we need to celebrate more. So, okay. Cool. So then this goes in the middle. Okie dokie. That went together. It doesn't feel particularly secure, but it went together. Okay. Now everything becomes clear. I mean, it doesn't. That's a preposterous notion right there and there. Just reading ahead in the instructions to figure out why I needed to build 2 of them, and the fact is you just need to build 2 of them. I should have just followed the instructions. But if I just followed the instructions, you wouldn't be here. Neither would I, for that matter, but there's no point crying over spilt milk. Not anymore. Anyway, to circle back on the thing I mentioned earlier about how even women can be oppressors, it's something that people don't like the nuance of, that women are capable of oppression or committing bad things. And once again, that feeds into the whole patriarchal stupidity, where women are infantilized so that they can be absolved of the decisions they make because they didn't know any better or they were acting irrational or emotional or whatever. Like, it's just a fucking cop-out. It's like the same way the woman that accused Emmett Till of raping her got away with it because she was just childishly seeking attention. A kid died. Like, a kid was murdered. Not even for the first time. A kid was murdered. And at the end of the day, for making a false police report leading to the lynching death of a kid, it was like, why women are crazy bitches. It's like, that's not really as comforting as you think it is, guys. I think, just to put it out there, it's kind of fucking terrifying. Like, in the grand scheme of things, while we're sitting here and we're all talking so free and so equal, it's pretty fucking terrifying. There we go. There is a wonderful little succulent, and that to me looks actually pretty freaking accurate for succulents. I actually really like that one. So let me just try and click this guy into place without spontaneously disassembling, but there we go. Yeah, it's definitely a fit. It's definitely very tight. Actually, I really like this kit. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video once I put this one together, but I'm going to instantly turn around and make the other one because this is fun. Like, wait, what? Building Lego's fun? What kind of bullshit is this? No, what I mean is that there is a lot of satisfaction out of building. It's like I kind of felt towards the end of building the Lego bouquet. It was a bit exhausting. It really was a grind. Like, they're nice flowers at the end, but compared to like the tightness and punchiness of this one, I like it. I like how busy it is. I also like how small it is. I like that kind of. I like the punchiness of it. It kind of makes me feel happy. And I mean, and this has still been a 1 hour build to finish this bugger entirely, so I might actually call it quits for today. Try and upload all the videos that I'm actually camping on at the moment, and deliver you maniacs some content. Apologies to those that aren't maniacs. I'm sure at least one of you is a decent human being. Just kidding. But I'm just going to put it out there that if you like building stuff with Lego and you kind of like these botanical kits, and I really like this botanical kit, no word of a lie, I actually like this kit, go out there and buy the cheap shit. Go out there and buy the cheap Lego. This is, in my opinion, having built the more expensive Lego kits, and the Bonsai one has inexplicable frogs. Inexplicable frogs. Sounds like a great band to go see live. Hi everybody, we're Inexplicable Frogs. We're here to play a set. Let's do this, yeah! Now I really want to see a punk band called Inexplicable Frogs. That would kick ass live. Okay, and this is literally, we're about to make the final clicky click. And there is an absolute plethora of leftover parts. These guys have been extremely generous with what you get in the kit to put it together. And there we go. And that's it. Not really a lot of room for movement, but you know what? I reckon that in and of itself is actually quite nice. Now, where to stick the bumblebee does become a bit of a question. I think I'm going to put the bumblebee here. So there we go, and that is with bumblebee installed. I actually like this kit. I think this is quite an adorable kit. Like I said, this is it. This is the kit. Eternal Flowers. There's the model number by Lols. Yeah. This is as good a kit as putting together a Lego kit. It was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll catch you all later.